What were you thinking when Elliott attempted that shot?
I didn't know that it was an and one. I was hoping that it went in, but I was prepared to call a timeout to set up our defense, and they said, "Don't call timeout." And I was like, "I'm calling a timeout to set up our defense," and they said, "He's going to the free throw line." I said, "Who's going to the free throw line?" They said, "Elliott." And so the and one situation, and so I told them after Elliott made his free throw, we would call timeout to set up our defense, and we were able to get a stop at the end.
You guys have been in these situations, and
A lot.
you needed someone to step up and make a play. He stepped up and made that play. He also had a nice stretch where he was finding guys earlier in the half.
He was, I told him after the game, I can point to everybody that made impact plays out there to help us win, whether it's on the offensive end and defensively, and that's what ultimately what has to happen is you have to have guys step up, and Elliott stepped up late. Jay Witt hit a three. Drake was struggling from three, then he knocked down the three. I was just really proud of this group, going through tough times, and you have a disappointing game on Wednesday, and then you get back on the road and you're playing at noon, and you just want something good to happen. And I'm just really happy for these kids, and it's awesome to see that smile on their face.
Hubert, how often do y'all kind of rep those type situations where
All the time.
I guess kind of after that missed free throw and you kind of let them go without a timeout, just kind of how often, I guess in practice, y'all kind of repping those type of situations?
We do. At the end of each practice, we have late game situations. So it could be different. 3 minutes on the clock, up 6, down 8, 1 minute on the clock, free throw line, we're down 1. Just different situations to put them so that when it's a real game, we can talk about it. And we did. We said, guys, we've been in this situation before. This is something that we've practiced and practiced, so we just have to do what we've talked about earlier.
RJ being more of a distributor today, was that by design or just organically happened?
No, I don't. I didn't say RJ today. I want you to be a distributor. That's how great a player RJ is. Everywhere he goes, they're putting a bigger defender on him. They're bodying him, coming off screens, and if he's coming off ball screens, they're putting 2 on the ball. And he did a great job of getting the ball out of his hands and spraying it to people. And so now what are you going to do? Are you going to put 2 on the ball, and now RJ's finding players and we're able to score? That's why we're able to get those layups and dunks and wide open threes, is because of RJ draws so much attention. He puts 2 on the ball. As soon as he gets off of it, we're in like transition offense because we've got more offensive players out there. So, RJ was fantastic today. His distributing and the way that he was a playmaker today, I was really proud of him.
Hubert, what was your sense of just watching the ball in the air after Elliott shot it?
Yeah.
I'm sure you had a pretty good angle at watching it.
Yeah.
And maybe your sense of how much this team maybe needed that result to be able to come through down the stretch today.
Yeah, I really wasn't thinking too much on the three. I was hoping that it went in.
Yeah, sure.
The play that we ran, that's one of the options. And I told before, I didn't know he got fouled.
Okay, yeah.
When it went in, it was crazy, and I was prepared to call a timeout to set up our defense with a little bit more than 4 seconds to go, and they're like, "Don't call timeout." He's at the free throw line. I said, "Who's at the free throw line?" He was like, "Elliott is." And I was like, "He got an and one?" And I was like, "Okay, great. So after he makes it, let me call timeout." But at the end of the day, it's about players stepping up and making plays. And Elliott made a lot. RJ, Ian, everybody that played made huge plays for us to be able to win on the road. It's just hard to win in conference.
And maybe your sense of how much this team maybe needed a result like this to be able to come through in the clutch when some of these others have gotten away.
I believe they did. I think one of the ways that you build confidence is it working out.
Sure.
You can build confidence through like watching tape and saying, this is the way we did it. We can't do it this way. But there goes a lot into it of building confidence when it works out for you. And I really believe this group of kids, they needed it. They really did. And I'm just really happy for them.
Speaking of confidence, what have you seen from Ian over the last 4 games, and again, sort of today, that's enabled him to score with such sort of frequency and ability?
And ease.
Ease, yeah, ease is the word, yeah.
You know, he's 6'6", athletic. He can get to his spots anytime he wants. Ball handler, score at 3 levels. He can score with contact. It's just easy for him. And a lot of the times it's coming off of just playing basketball. It's not necessarily me calling secondary Ian. You know, he's always been a gifted scorer. He's getting better defensively, distributing the basketball, learning how to take care of it as well. And we needed every bit of his game today, and it doesn't surprise me that he's had 4 games with 20 points or more.
This is the first time in school history a freshman's had 23 or more in 4 straight. First time ever.
With Ian's game, the way his game is wired, are you kind of at a point right now where he does what he does, and sometimes it may look like a forced shot or something like that, but you're okay with it because it's part of his game, it's part of his wiring.
Yeah, you gotta let him go a little bit. Like he likes to get into it, and so like that's who he is. And so I want every player to be themselves out there on the floor. And so, you know, there's a couple times where I think he settled for a step back 3, and I was like, don't settle for that. I said, don't bail him out. I said, you have the ability to get to the basket. And so those little things, but you know, Ian's the type of player you gotta let him go a little bit. And that's where he is at his best, when he's playing fast and free. And that's what I want him to do out there.
Take 1 or 2 more.
What do you think the difference was in that first half? You guys went up as many as 12, I want to say.
Yeah.
Just what was the difference just in starting fast break?
No, it was the difference was defensively. I think for the whole game we were able to guard their actions. The problem that we had in the second half was we couldn't guard them straight one-on-one. In the first half we were doing that. In the second half, Burton, Davis, they were taking us one-on-one. If they weren't scoring, they were getting fouled, getting to the free throw line. So just our initial being able to guard one-on-one actions in the second half just broke down. I mean, at one point they were shooting almost 60% from the field. We just weren't getting stops. I think it all started right after Ian missed those 2 free throws. We were up like 7 or 8. He missed both free throws, and then they started going. And we just can't do that. You know, we just got to get better at getting individual one-on-one stops.
One more.
Along those lines though, Hubert, because you were able to build the first half lead and settle into the game, did you think that maybe created a greater sense of comfort or something that you have, you know, when you've had these uphill climbs?
Yeah.
Like,
I do think so.
Just the fact you're able to settle in and play, you know what I'm saying?
No, I agree with you. At Kirsch, I don't know the last time we went into halftime and we were up. So it was unfamiliar. We're usually down, whether it's a couple or a lot. And so it's one of the few games that I can remember that was like a game. You know, it wasn't a comeback. It was, you were there. You were in control. And I think that was a huge part of us pulling it through is us not having to come back. We were always in the game, and once we got to the 3-minute mark, you know, we were in the huddle just talking about we've been in this situation pretty much every game all season, and so we know what we have to do. And when I've talked about the discipline and details, getting stops, execution on the offensive end, we were able to do it, and it was just a really good win for them.
Thanks everybody. We'll get the players in the hallway. I've got